There was a man, a cowboy, who worked on a vast ranch spanning about 25,000 acres. He lived alone in an outpost. The main property was so massive it had to be divided into 10 or 12 sections to make it manageable. These sections varied in size, some around 3,700 acres, others maybe 2,200, and each had its own headquarters, housing a family or employees like other cowboys and tractor drivers. This man's outpost, however, was one of the smaller ones, at roughly 1,700 acres. He managed the herd by himself. He had no wife or children and lived in complete isolation. The cattle were wild, but he had a remarkable knack for handling the animals and enjoyed his work. Another of his passions was heading deep into the woods to hunt. Any excuse was enough for him to go into the forest. He had a neighbor, another cowboy who also worked a neighboring outpost alone. Since they were both bachelors, they often got together to hunt. One day they planned a hunt, as a herd of peccaries, a type of wild pig, was moving through the area. However, on the appointed day, his friend, his compadre, never showed up. The cowboy waited, but when the other man didn't arrive, he decided, if he's not coming, that's fine. I'll go by myself. He gathered his 4 or 5 hunting dogs, grabbed his shotgun, and headed down into the woods. He was an agile man, a runner who could keep pace with his own dogs through the dense brush. Shortly after entering the forest, staying close to the pack, the dogs cornered something. It was a creature, apparently small as he couldn't see it. The dogs would bark at one spot for 30 or 40 seconds, and then the thing would jump to another location, the pack hot on its trail. He kept following the dogs, which barked and barked, seeming to bay at the wind itself, as the cowboy couldn't see the critter. Suddenly something small, described by him as looking just like a doll, leaped out of a bush. In his words, it looked like an antique doll, the porcelain kind, with a white head, hair, and even a little dress. The dogs pounced on it. The man, seeing this, was stunned. "Good Lord, a doll? What is this?" The small figure moved its little arms and ran fluidly, but it didn't make a sound. The hunter, spooked, chased the dogs off. Even with the gun in his hand, he never thought to shoot it. He made a move to get closer and grab the creature. The instant he reached out his hand, the creature leapt onto his shoulder, placed its tiny mouth right next to his ear, and let out a scream. It was a high-pitched sound, so piercingly shrill that the man lost his senses. He only felt the impact of the ground as he blacked out. He had no way of knowing how long he lay unconscious in the woods. Maybe a day, maybe 2. He only said that when he woke up, it felt like he had just taken a 10 or 15-minute nap after lunch. The kind of short sleep where you wake up feeling like no time has passed, but which was actually very long. He awoke feeling strange, covered in ants. The dogs were gone. His mouth was parched, and he felt an intense thirst and hunger. He started for home. On the way, he felt an irritation, a sharp pain in his neck. When he touched it, he noticed the spot was swollen and raised in a large welt, as if something had bitten him. When he got back to the outpost headquarters, he found the dogs waiting. He ate something, drank, and went to the washroom. There was a small square mirror with a red frame. Looking at his reflection, he saw his neck was red and purple, an ugly mark, looking just like a snakebite. "My God, what is that?" he thought. He mounted his horse, called the dogs, and rode to the outpost of the friend who had missed the hunt. When he got there, he explained everything that had happened. His friend, disbelieving, was only convinced when he showed him the wound on his neck. "My God, what is that?" the friend repeated, spooked. Just then, the ranch owner happened to arrive. The ranch owner used to visit the outposts monthly to check on the work. A few minutes after the cowboy finished telling his friend what had happened, the boss showed up. The cowboy told the story to the ranch owner too, who almost laughed in his face, but when he showed him his neck, the boss was baffled. "Man, what is that? That's a snakebite," the owner said, as the mark looked just like one. "But the strange thing," the cowboy commented, "was that the bite marks looked human." "No, we're taking you to the doctor. There's a clinic in the village. We're getting that looked at." They got in the pickup truck and headed to the small town to see the local doctor. When they got there, the doctor examined him and asked him to lie down on an exam table in the office. As soon as he lay down, he blacked out. He fainted again. He was unconscious for about an hour. When he awoke, the cowboy could no longer speak or hear. And he stayed that way for the rest of his life. They tried treatments. They tried to get him to speak. They ran hearing tests, but nothing worked. He remained mute and deaf. Despite this, he continued to work for the rancher, as he was an excellent employee, though now he needed more supervision, working alongside another ranch hand. But his speech and hearing, those never returned. One of the strangest stories you'll ever hear. The question remains, was it true, or did he hallucinate it? Maybe he was bitten by a snake and in a delirium imagined the whole thing. It's a bizarre thing, impossible to confirm. It is not known if this man is still alive, as the story was told by third parties. But alive or dead, he could never again report what actually happened. There is no way to know the truth. It's one of those tales you hear that, for lack of proof, you're tempted to immediately dismiss as a lie. But that's how the story ends.